So if taking tinctures really isn't your thing, especially because of taste, and you'd much rather pop some pills instead, today I am going to show you how to make your very own herbal capsules. So let's get started. You will need some gelatin capsules, a capsule machine, which I got mine from Amazon, as well as my capsules, a cute little jar to put your capsules in, a grinder, a spoon, and some herbs. So the first thing that we're going to do is grind up our herbs. So I have this little spice grinder, and I already have my herbs measured out, and I'm just going to put them in my grinder. So on this channel, I give you a lot of recipes for different things, but I typically do tinctures because I have smaller children, and tinctures is much easier for me as a mom. It's also very hands-off and it doesn't take a lot of time for me. Whereas capsules is a little bit more time consuming and I just don't do it very frequently. But if tinctures really aren't your thing, you can take all the recipes that I give you on my channel and you can just use the dried herbs and make it into capsules if that's your preferred method of taking herbs. Capsules do take a little bit longer to actually get into your bloodstream than a tincture does, so you can take that into consideration too. I'm going to put my herbs in here and we are going to grind up some herbs. So once all of your herbs are ground to a nice fine powder, we are going to open up our capsule machine, which I chose a size 0 capsule because they hold about 500 milligrams of herb and they're not too big. You could also do a 0.0 size if you like really small capsules. So this has a damper in it to push down. It has a spreader card. This is the top, and then this is the base that it's going to go on. So we're going to put it on top of the base. So the next thing we're going to do is open up our capsules. We're going to turn this one around the top of it. And you open up your capsule like this. You have this bottom part is going to go, just push it slightly into the bigger one. And this top part is going to go in the smaller one. And I like to work in order so that I know exactly which cells are filled and which ones aren't, because it gets a little bit complicated to see, but you can, if you look in there, you can actually see which cells are filled and which ones aren't. But if you just work in order, then you know which ones are done. And if you can make it into a system of where you always have the capsule on the right, where you have the bottom pulling off here and the top pulling off on the other hand, it makes it a lot faster. But it always takes me a little bit to actually get into a rhythm of doing this, just like that when I messed it up. Okay, so when all of your cells are filled, can't really tell with that. Let's see if you can tell on the bottom. So when all of your capsules are in, I'm going to take a spoon and push it in here. The finer your herbs are, the easier this process is. I have one herb that's not quite as fine as the others because it's more of a bark, and that makes it a little bit more complicated where it doesn't fit in the capsule quite as well. So I have all of this left over, so I'm going to use my spreader and I'm going to push the rest. Okay, so once I have most of this in there, I'm going to use my damper and I'm going to push as much of the herb as I can into the capsules. And then whatever doesn't fit, I'm going to use my spreader and take it out. And that's what it looks like when all of your herb is in there. You again, if you want to, you can take your damper and push it. And you see how much room I have now again? So I can put a little bit more in there and do the process again until I have it filled. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I like to get as close to 500 milligrams per capsule as I possibly can so that I have more accurate dosing. But even with this herb, just because it is a little bit more woodsy, I probably won't get quite at 500 milligrams. So I'll just have to remember that whenever I am doing the dosage, I'll take a little bit more than maybe I would with a tincture. Okay, so it looks like I can't really push it down anymore. Now we're ready to put the top on. So once I have it sitting back on the base, I'm going to take the top, I'm going to push it on there, and I'm going to push it down. I like to just push it in together to make sure. And then I'm going to take it out like this. So now all of my, so sometimes when you do it, you'll have a couple capsules maybe that didn't get squished all the time. Then you can push it back in there and try to make them connect. And sometimes you just have to end up doing it manually, which normally happens several times in the process. Don't worry about it, it happens. So, and then you can typically push them all out. But it looks like I have one that got a little bit smashed. So the top of this one got a little bit smashed in there. So I'm just going to empty out the herb and we'll push the top out so it can be used again. And then you can place your capsules in your bottle, and that is how to make capsules. Then you want to label your bottle so that you know exactly what is in your capsules and how much to take. For most herbal combinations that I do in my recipes, this is in particular is a liver formula. So I would suggest the person take it 2 capsules 2 times a day. So that's 4 capsules a day. You can work up to 6 capsules depending on the person, but that's typically what I do for most of my capsules is 2 capsules for adults. If it's a child, the dose would be a little bit different. So that is how you make herbal capsules. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing week. Bye, friends.